What's up, tribe? How you guys doing? Welcome back. Welcome back, you guys. We are back for the part three of the Real Housewives of New Jersey reunion. Listen, I feel for Andy because that thing wore me out. Okay? I feel for Andy because that thing wore me out. Oh my goodness. Let me say hi to the people and let's just get into it, y'all. Hey, everybody. Hey, Lemon Kush, L Love. Hey, Phil. You are mortified at everybody. Quake, Brandon, Miss D. I only watch for y'all, and that show stressed me out. I need a drink. Ciao. That is how I feel. I feel bad for Andy. Powerful say, I'm so glad this mess is over. Yes. Hey, Abby Nicholas. It's stressful and sad. Stressful and sad. I agree with you on that one. Listen. Oh. At this point, I was gonna put up a poll and ask y'all who y'all believed. Do you believe Louis or do you believe Joe? But I don't even think it's a black and white answer. At this point, I don't think it's a black and white answer. I think that I just don't think it's a black and white answer. I know I just said that, but I don't know how else to say that. I just think they're y'all. Tracy said they all lied. Ah, ah, ah. Teresa is so angry, but at the wrong people. Her ex put her in jail. Child, exactly, Miss D. I don't even know how we got to Joe and Melissa. I don't even know how we got it. Listen, I done already told y'all and broke all of that down. They were going to, first of all, let me just start at the beginning. They were under investigation before the show even started. Before you agreed to be on a reality show, you guys, Teresa and Joe Gorga, Judice. I'm sorry, Teresa and Joe Judice or Judice were already under criminal investigation for mortgage fraud. You chose to take your yes. I don't know why I bleeped out the happy and said the ass, but anyway, you chose to take your tail onto a reality show to put a bigger mic, a magnifying glass on your life. I don't think you have anybody to blame because number one, y'all were guilty. So let's start there. It's not like you were framed. It's not like somebody made stuff up. Y'all, Teresa had a whole fake W-2 for a whole fake job. And I'm not going to go along with this whole narrative that Teresa didn't know. Teresa might not have known everything, but Teresa knew something. And so as far as I'm concerned, girl, you knew what was going on. You knew. And you took your down to the reality show. So I don't even care. Let me get to my notes, child. Let me get to my notes. Can y'all hear me? Hold on a second. Can y'all hear me? Testing. Can y'all hear me? I want Melissa and Joe gone. Then the next season. Can y'all hear me now? Okay, you can hear me now. So you want them to toggle? You want one season to be Melissa's season and the next season to be Teresa's season? Oh Lord. So first of all, this episode was basically the men. So they bring the guys out, and Andy is so nervous about there being a fight or somebody jumping up. He threatened Joe and told Joe he better not get his All right, is it back on now? Can y'all hear me now? Tracy says she don't want them back ever again. Oh well. Can y'all hear me? Okay, all right, it's back. All right. I'm sorry, y'all. I really have to get my life together. I have a microphone that I need to hook up. I just every time I say I'm gonna do it, I just forget. So I'm gonna hook up my new microphone because it's getting worse and worse. It's a short in the cord and it's getting worse and worse. So my apologies. When Teresa was using cash to pay for all her expensive furniture and everything else, she looked suspect. Yeah, y'all know I wasn't watching it then, but y'all told me about that. Yeah, that definitely was a issue. So we start off with I got one as a gift, and it's right here. It's in the box, and I feel bad because Cam's gave it to me, and I appreciate it. But I just keep forgetting. Like I come home and I just sit down and I just start working. I keep forgetting, but I'm gonna hook it up because this is getting worse. This microphone is getting worse. Anyway, so they first of all they bring up the first thing they ask him is about Louis saying that he be wearing Nono's pajamas, which I think creeped everybody out. I think it creeped everybody out. So he says he misspoke, that he doesn't wear pajamas, that it was a bag of clothes that Teresa never actually got a chance to give her father. And he wears one night, he wore a sweatsuit. Louis, you lying. You lying. That whole story was a lie. You did exactly what you said you did. You be wearing that man's pajamas. And I don't know why Teresa ain't creeped out by that shit. Teresa or the kids. I wish my husband would. That's just creepy as F. Oh my goodness. That's creepy as hell. I don't understand why Teresa don't think that that's creepy. I don't understand why the girls don't think that's creepy. Why do you think exactly powerful? He is full of sugar honey iced tea. Why do you think that would comfort them? Why do you think seeing you walk around in her father's pajamas would make her feel good? That's just nasty. He was definitely lying, but I feel like the backlash was too much, so he tried to backpedal and that's exactly what it was. ASB. He thought it was going. He thought people were going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that is so great," which tells you that something ain't connected there. But that he really, I think he did. I think he actually thought that people were going to be like, "Oh my gosh, that is so sweet," and people were looking at him like. So you started off with a lie, as far as I'm concerned. So then Joe starts talking about how when Teresa got home after she got out of jail, that was the best she's ever been. He was like, she was humble and she was this and she was that. And then Teresa started going down that road again of y'all didn't never ask me to do anything. Y'all never invited me anywhere. Y'all never did anything with me, which we had already debunked in part one because Melissa showed pictures of them at dinner and them hanging out together. But what Melissa, I feel like we did get more information about that. It sounds like they didn't invite Teresa when they were doing couples things because Teresa wasn't a couple. But they did invite Teresa when they were doing single people stuff or stuff that didn't involve being a couple. And it sounds like that bothered Teresa. Now, let me tell you something. Yeah, something about, I agree with you, Natty. Something about Louis makes me icky. It's just icky. It's just icky. She probably was still on probation, Miss D. But let me say this: as far as I'm concerned, the way I feel about these things is this: that is what happens when you go from being a couple to a single, regardless of whether you have went to jail or any of that other stuff. It happens when you have a group of friends and y'all are all coupled up. When you're no longer a couple, then certain invitations you just don't get anymore. That's just a fact. That's just the facts. You know, things you used to do with couples that just, I mean, anybody in here been through a divorce or went through a long term relationship and y'all broke up, and y'all know what I'm talking about. things change. That doesn't mean that your friends don't love you anymore. Hey Jamil, hey Dr. Colton. That doesn't mean your friends don't love you anymore. That doesn't mean that y'all don't do what y'all do. But that just means that certain invitations you just not gonna get. I am single. I have friends who are couples. I do stuff with my couple friends all the time. But when I find out that two couples went out of town, I mean it happens. A couple of my couple friends went out to dinner. I mean, I don't always want to be the fifth wheel. I don't always want to be the fifth wheel. So the reality of the situation is that's what it sounds like happened. But like I said, we talked about this in the first episode, so I don't even understand why we had this whole argument, which turned into an even bigger argument. So then Melissa and Teresa get into this argument. Now Melissa was getting on my nerves because Melissa kept jumping in. There were times when I felt like Melissa, let Joe talk to his sister. Regardless of what he says or doesn't say, let him finish what he has to say. And then if he didn't say something you felt need to be included, or you felt like Joe didn't emphasize something you want to emphasize, then you can add your 2 cents. But she was getting on my nerves because I felt like she kept jumping in. But hell, then Teresa turned around and did the same thing with Louis. So I said, well, damn, both of y'all are doing the same damn thing and y'all getting on my nerves. And they were getting on Andy's nerves, and they were probably getting on everybody's nerves on the damn panel. On the stage, probably. So the two of them got to arguing. Hey, Patches, what's up, boo? So the two of them got to arguing. And they're arguing about, they're back and forth. And Teresa's like, let me talk to my brother. And Melissa was like, well, you disowned your brother. You said you didn't want to talk to him anymore. And she said, well, this is gonna be my last time talking to him, so let me talk to him. And Melissa was like, oh, that's just sad. That's just sad. You said it's gonna be your last time. And Joe was like, what do you mean it's your last time? What are you talking about? Because of course he was backstage. And Teresa was like, well, if it's my last time, I want to talk to him. I want to talk to him without you. So they are literally arguing about whether Teresa gets to talk to her brother without Melissa interrupting. It was ridiculous. And Andy was like, can Louis talk? Can Louis talk? Can Louis talk? I'm trying to hear what Louis has to say. I want to know what Louis has to say. I'm trying to hear what Louis has to say. Louis was like, Andy, can I talk? Andy was like, hell, I want y'all to talk. And then finally, Andy yelled at all their asses and told all of them shut up. And you know what they did? They kept talking. It was embarrassing for both sides. These are grown ass women. Teresa is in her 50s. Melissa's in her 40s. That was embarrassing from the word go. Now I'm just gonna call a thing a thing. I ain't team Teresa, I ain't team Melissa. Now I do have an opinion about certain things, but I'm not team one way or the other. But it was embarrassing to watch the two of them going at it the way they were going at it. And even when Andy asked y'all to stop, y'all couldn't stop. You know why you couldn't stop? Because both of y'all wanted to have the last word. If Teresa said, you're just disgusting, Melissa said, you're disgusting. Teresa said, you're more disgusting. Melissa said, well, look at you. Well, Teresa said, well, look at you. Well, you're just being ridiculous. You are being ridiculous. And if Andy said both of y'all are being ridiculous, Teresa would say, I know she is. And so then Melissa would say, she is, isn't she? It's like y'all had to have the last word, so neither one of y'all would shut up. Exactly. So I don't. Everybody that said that Andy was wrong and he shouldn't have yelled at Melissa, he shouldn't have yelled at Teresa, whatever. Then I'm sorry. If y'all still feeling that way after watching the reunion, then I don't know what to tell y'all, because that was ridiculous. And the fact that Andy had to keep saying it over and over and over and over and over, and neither one of them were listening, was absolutely embarrassing. So then they were talking about Pizzagate. So what I gathered, because again, they're going back and forth and back and forth and forth and back. What I gathered from Pizzagate was never do business without a contract. Never do business without a contract. Joe said he went to Louis with this idea to do a pizza business. He said he got up from the meeting. Louis immediately said that he spent $150,000, ordered about 22 pizza ovens. What I'm not clear on is, were y'all trying to start a pizza shop? Were y'all trying to sell pizza ovens? I'm really, because if y'all were trying to sell a pizza, if y'all were trying to open up a pizza shop, do you need that many pizza ovens? 22? That seemed like a lot. I mean, you're not Domino's. That seems like a lot of pizza ovens to have for one business. Am I tripping? I mean, I don't own a business not a pizza business or anything like that, but 22 ovens? And you bought 22 ovens without having a place, without having a name. Like, y'all did, well, I think they did have a name, Nanos or something like that. I've never seen that. That's crazy to me. I could see if Louis said, I went and put down a lease, I found a perfect spot, and I paid for a year's lease on a perfect spot. I could even see if he said, hey, started doing some renovation, although that would be stupid for you to do renovations without talking to Joe, because that's what Joe does. So that would have been stupid. But I've never heard of that before. Why in the world are you buying 22 pizza ovens for what? And where the hell did you put them when they showed up? But okay, let's keep walking down this road. This is Louis' side of the story. Louis said he thought it was a good idea because Joe said this will be something good for Teresa. Now, I need y'all to catch what I'm throwing right now, okay? I need y'all to catch what I'm throwing right now. And I'm gonna drop the link in a few minutes so people can come up and y'all can give me y'all 2 cents. But I need y'all to catch what I'm throwing. Did y'all hear when Louis said he put everything in Teresa's name? Did y'all hear that? Louis said he put the business in Teresa's name because Joe said this would be good for Teresa. He said everything dealing with this business was in Teresa's name. Did y'all peep that? But Teresa swears she don't know nothing about it. How is everything in your name, Teresa, and you didn't know nothing about it? Again, are you signing papers without reading them? Is somebody forging papers in your name? How does that happen? How does somebody put something 100% in your name without anybody telling you? Hold on, my producer just sent me something. Okay.
What's up, guys? You know I love nothing more than pizza. It's my absolute favorite thing. And we make it all year round with our Alpha Pizza Oven that's outside. Joe, show them how great this pizza is. But guess what? We love you guys so much. So with RTA and Alpha, we are giving away one free pizza oven, okay? So all you have to do, read the directions in my caption, follow all the rules, and good luck. You can be the lucky winner of the new Alpha Pizza Oven. How good is that? Amazing. Good luck.
Okay, I guess I don't know. I don't know what that is. I guess I don't know if they're playing off of what happened or if that's what the original business was supposed to be. If it was supposed to be them selling the pizza ovens. I don't know. I'm still confused. But I did peep that. I peeped 100% that Louis said they put that in Teresa's name. He put everything in Teresa's name. I heard that. Now on Joe's side of it, Joe said that he pitched the idea to Louis, and when Louis said, "Hey, that's a great idea," he said he was waiting for Louis to contact him so they could sit down and go over everything. So it sounds like Joe was like, "Great, I'm glad you think it's a good idea. When are we gonna meet up again so we can start putting everything in place and start putting this business together?" He said, I figured it would cost about $500,000 to start. I had my $250,000 ready. I was waiting to hear back from Louis. He would get his 250, I would get my 250, and we would start this business. That's what Joe said. But then he said that Louis ghosted him, and next thing you know, Louis ghosted him and then said, "Oh well, um, I'm sorry." Louis ghosted him and then was like, "Oh well, I was starting this business and you ghosted me." It doesn't make sense. I'm just telling you, it don't make sense. I don't. I'm gonna be honest with you. I think Louis lied about that when he said, "Oh, it'd be a great business for Teresa." I don't think that's how Joe said it. I mean, I think Joe might have said something like, "Oh, well, this would be, we, you know, along the lines of, I want to make sure my sister is taken care of. This would be a great business for the family, that kind of thing." I don't. That don't. That's not even Joe's language for Joe to be like, "Hey, this would be a great business for Teresa." I could see him saying this would be a good business for the family. I could see him saying this would be something good for the family to do, but that don't even make sense to me. I mean, I could be wrong, but that just don't even make sense to me. Didn't Joe have a pizza shop seasons back? I don't know. I haven't been watching it from the beginning. He may have. He may have. So, so they got into all of that, and like I said, it just didn't make sense to me. It still don't make sense to me. You know. And that's exactly right. Right. Joe Fuda said they should have put it in writing, and he's absolutely correct. Oh, let me rewind. I didn't write that in my notes. Yeah, yes, I did. Okay. So then we got on the Frank and Dolores situation with Paulie. Listen, they're good. Frank is moving out of the dude's house. Him and Brittany closed on the house. He got new teeth. Okay. Um, he said him and Louis are in a good space. They're getting along really well. He said he feels like the viewers misunderstood his relationship with Dolores. He said, it's not sexual, anything like that, but we would, she's my best friend, and we just had a really good situation. Translation: I'm spoiled, and I had the best of both worlds because I had my ex-wife slash mother of my children as my best friend, my beck and call, my road dog, my wing person when Brittany wasn't around, or when I was mad at Brittany, when I was filming on the show. Me and her could stay at the same place. Me and her could arrive and leave together. Me and her, I could, stay her. That's what it translates to. And when Dolores got into this relationship where you couldn't manipulate Paulie and you couldn't turn Paulie into your best friend so you could stay and keep your position, you got threatened by that. And now Paulie, you good, y'all are good, and that's great. That's all it is, child. They had a family pizza shop in the earlier seasons. That's where that scene where Gia sang that song that everyone uses on TikTok. Oh, okay, okay, okay. Okay. So there was that. Paulie's still married. They brought up marriage. Paulie said, "Well, Dolores doesn't want to get married." Dolores said, "Yes, I do." And then Paulie said, "Well, you said you wanted to take it slow." And the look on Dolores' face was, "Damn, I ain't wanted you to take me seriously. Like, yeah, I said I wanted to take it slow, but I ain't mean for you. I ain't mean it." That's what that look said to me. That look that Dolores had said, "I ain't mean it though." So I feel like next season we're gonna see Dolores and Paulie, because she said they're looking for a house, so they're gonna move into a house together. I see at the end of next season, I see a proposal. If her and Paulie are still together, I see a proposal at some point next season, and the season after that, Dolores will be getting married. She's not a big enough part of this show that she's going to get a separate. She's not going to get a wedding special. I don't believe that she would get a wedding special. However, she will get um she'll get an episode or two. Okay, but that'll be season 15. Oh, 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 oh. This will be perfect, y'all. Y'all listening? Y'all listening? This will be perfect. Season 15, I also predict that that's the season that Teresa is going to really figure out who Louis is, and then she's going to be looking for her family again. Wouldn't it be great if they all reunited at Dolores' wedding? Perfect. Okay, moving on. So that's what happened with that child. Then they get into this whole job with Frank Jr. Now, I'm side-eyeing you, Dolores. Now, y'all know I like me some Dolores. Y'all know that's my girl right there. I am side-eyeing Dolores. Dolores, I said Dolores. Dolores did not want to have that conversation. Did not want to have that conversation at all. Frank Sr. said, well, I don't really want to be the one to bring it up. I ain't really trying to go down that road. Basically, if Dolores don't want me to say nothing, then I ain't going to say nothing. But he was like, but I stand by what I said. Like, I ain't lie. But I'm going to respect Dolores, and I'm not going to bring it up. That's what I took from that. Now, if y'all took something different, put it in the chat. But that's what I took. Dolores shut it down. Dolores shut Louis down. Dolores shut Frank down. She said, listen, Louis gave my son a job. He has a new job now, and that is it. And that is all. Now, here's my prediction for that. We're going to find out about that next season. Either Frank is going to talk to somebody and they're going to film it, and he's going to really get down and dirty and he's going to really tell it all. Or Dolores is going to see some shit and she going to call it out. But we going to find out. Well, remember Frank Jr. went on his social media and said that didn't happen. So Frank Jr. said it didn't happen. Dolores shut it down. I believe the story. Listen, I'm one of those people, and maybe sometimes I just believe people too much. Maybe I have too much. I just see the good in people so much. Don't get me wrong. When I feel like when people are lying, people are lying. But in this situation, I don't see Frank making this up. Remember, that was a whole deleted scene. That scene didn't even make it into the season. There's a reason why production put that scene. Well, they put it in the season because Frank was talking about it backstage. But they didn't put that scene in. And I don't feel like Frank made that up. I just don't. Now, that don't mean that Frank don't have some shit with him. He does. Nobody's perfect. But I don't think Frank made that up. Now, that's just my opinion, y'all. I do not think he made that up. I don't. I absolutely believe that Frank Jr. called his dad and was like, damn, like the company shut down. No, Frank said that Frank Sr. said that Frank Jr. called him and told him he can't get in touch with Louis. Louis ghosted him. Now, here's the thing. What we do know for a fact, I think this was confirmed. The business that Frank Jr. worked for, I believe that business did close. I'm almost certain that they confirmed that business did actually close. And what Frank Sr. said was that Frank Jr. said it closed without warning. Like, he didn't know. It just closed without warning. And then Louis was ghosting him. He couldn't get Louis on the phone. He didn't know what was up with his job. Now, two things we know are true. We know that Frank Jr. found a new job. They had a whole celebration dinner, remember? And remember, they kept saying, oh, it's the job of his dreams. Oh, it's the job of his dreams. They made it a big deal about he found this great job. And we know that business did close. So listen, I'm not saying I believe everything that come out of Frank's mouth because, again, everything he said about Dolores, as far as I'm concerned, is bullshit. You are in love with that woman. You know that's the worst mistake you ever made. You know you effed up a good thing, and you really, truly want her back. I know he got Brittany over here, but Brittany Brittany don't even know that people in Ireland speak English. Y'all remember that? When they all went out to dinner after they got back from Ireland, and she asked Paulie how long it took him to learn English when he moved to the United States. Y'all remember that? Brittany ain't that bright. Okay? She asked him how long it took him to learn English when he moved to the United States. Brittany ain't that bright. Just... Okay, he was arrested. Good for him, child. Listen, L Love, good. I'll look it up when I get off here. She did quake. Listen, if I'm lying, y'all, if I'm lying, put it in the chat. She said it. She, cause I said, how long it took him to learn? Listen, you know how somebody say something with so much authority. You know how somebody say something with so much authority, it make you question it. So when she said it, I said, "How was?" I had to think for a second myself. I just, I had to question myself for a second, and I had to say, "I wish I that's not a language." I had to question myself. She said that thing with authority too. She was serious. Junior lied on his social media after Dolores told him that Louis had some ish on her and Junior. Oh. A lot of this Jersey cast ain't too bright. Listen, you ain't lying. Because Teresa got a whole college degree. Now, granted, it's in fashion merchandising, but I don't care. I have friends who have degrees in fashion merchandising, and they are very intelligent. Frank got a whole law degree. Now, he's disbarred, but he went to law school and passed the bar. Frank ain't no dummy. I mean, he's a blockhead, but he ain't no dummy. Child, Portia and the Underground Railroad. You right. You right. But anyway, so I personally think, listen, let me tell you, I'm gonna just go ahead and tell y'all now. Anybody who's in the chat that is a Louis sympathizer, you probably not gonna be happy because I just think all roads lead to Louis. And Frank said it. Frank said it a couple of times. Frank was like, "It's never been this bad. Like it's never been like, yeah, we have argued, we have fought, we have been mad at each other, we have cussed each other out, we don't even come to blows, but it has never been like this." And I agree with him. I only been watching the show for 3 seasons, and this. But if you take the whole Housewives franchise, I've never seen this bad. And wait till we get to this Bo Dietl situation, because Louis, you are a liar. You are just a fucking liar. But anyway, Dolores shut that thing down. All right. So then Fuda, what's his name? Is it your John Fuda? Rachel's husband, he interrupted. Now let me tell y'all something. First of all, I do think Rachel and Fuda will be back next season. But let me tell you something. Baby, we was worried. Listen, Andy was worried about Joe. Andy was worried about Frank. Andy was worried about Louis. Fuda is the one you should have had your eye on, because I think Fuda was about to Louis up. Do you hear me? I think Fuda, at the end of this episode, baby, I gotta watch. I said I was gonna try to binge it this summer. I'm gonna try to go back and watch Housewives from the New Jersey from the beginning and binge it. But let me tell you something. When they were showing them flashbacks of Teresa's old face, oh my gosh, y'all! I don't know if I could sit through 4 and 5 seasons of Teresa's old face. And not saying that she was ugly. I'm just saying it's so different. She looked so different. My God. I mean, she had like real, she didn't just add a little filler. Baby, she had some serious surgery. If you look at some of them old Teresa, baby, she had some serious surgery. I mean, work. I mean, I said, one scene they show, I said, that's her. I said, that's Teresa? I don't know if I can sit through her old face. I just don't know. Moving on. That's not nice, Chris. I'm going to tap my hand. That wasn't nice. Okay. So Fuda said, The posh fashion show. See, all right, I'm gonna have to go back and look. I'm gonna put that on my binge watch list for the season. Let me ask y'all a question. If I binge it, oh, speaking of, hey, I'm gonna come back to that, Jessica. If I binge it, would y'all want me to do reviews, or y'all just want me to binge it so I can get the information? Will y'all want me to review it, like as a retro, a throwback review? Would y'all want to see that? Y'all let me know. Y'all let me know if y'all want to hear my opinions as I'm watching the seasons in real time. Y'all let me know what y'all think. But I think I am gonna binge it this season though. You'll watch it with me? Okay, Quay said she'll watch it with me. Okay, all right. Let's retro. Okay, she said let's retro review. Phil said no, it's the same argument. So Phil said no, he don't want me to hear it. Okay, you don't want to hear it. Okay, I'll put a poll up. It'll be the majority rule. Because I don't want to do it if y'all ain't gonna watch it. But if y'all gonna watch it, we'll do it. Okay. Miss D say either way, child. She said either way. All right, I see a few yeses. Okay. I see a few yeses. All right. I'll let y'all know. Because I'll let y'all know how I feel about that. Okay. Now, Fuda said, listen, you paid Bo Diddly Deedler do or had him do it, whether you paid him or not. See, and here's the thing. Listen, y'all have to listen to what people are saying. No, you don't have to listen to what people are saying. You got to listen to what people are not saying. You have to listen to what people are not saying. So here's, oh, selfishly I do, but I know the recaps will work. Yeah, review it. I'll watch them on Peacock. Yeah, okay, all right, okay. I'll see. I'm gonna have to see what my time looks like this summer. But if I feel like I can do it, I'll do it because I did the last 3 seasons. So we're on season 13. So I started with season 11, 12, 13. So I would have to do the first 10 seasons. I guess I could, but I don't know, y'all. I'm gonna have to see. I have to watch an episode or two and to see how I'm feeling it. Maybe I won't do like a season episode by episode. Maybe I'll do a season. Maybe I'll watch the season and do like one big review on what happened in that season. I don't know if I have it in me to do episode by episode. But I'm gonna see. I'm gonna see how I feel after I watch like the first episode or two. Okay, so y'all need to listen to what people are not saying. Louis said, "I never hired Bo Dietl." First of all, on the season he said it. Yeah, shut up, Janae. During the season he said he did it. He said in the finale, he said Bo Dietl investigated all these people. But now that he's being confronted with it, he said, I never asked Bo Dietl to do anything. I never asked Bo Dietl to do anything. Bo Dietl is just a friend of mine. Okay, so again, let's listen to what's not being said. You didn't have to hire him. If he's your friend, he did it for free, right? That doesn't mean that doesn't mean that he didn't investigate. That doesn't mean that he doesn't have a Rolodex, a file on every single one of them. Bo Diddley is denying it. I'm sure he's denying it, but I don't believe him. I don't believe him, and I don't believe Louis. I don't. He's denying that he's working for Louis. Cali Girl said, review it and get paid for it. I know that's right, Cali Girl. Thank you, boo. So listen, I believe that Bo Diddley do. I believe he did exactly what they're saying he did. I believe that he's investigating every single one of them, and I believe that he has created a file. That's not the word I'm looking for, but a file on every single one of them, an attaché, if you will. I believe he absolutely developed one on every single one of them. I believe it. I believe it. I believe it. 100% I believe it. 100% I believe it. And I believe what Joe Fuda said. I mean, I don't know if it's John Fuda or whatever. I believe what Fuda said because he explained it and it made sense. Fuda said, when people are in jail, you can't just call them up. You have to go through a process to get to somebody who is in jail. You can't just go visit them. You have to get on a list. You can't just call them. You have to get through to them and you have to get approved. But if you are a private investigator or a reporter, there's certain processes you cut through because you have a credential. Y'all feel what I'm saying? Because remember, attorneys hire private investigators all the time. Private investigators go to jails and interview people all the time. So there's a process that's different for them than it is for just a layman that wants to go in and talk to somebody in jail or wants to go see somebody in jail. But they keep a record of everything. You don't get to just make up a name. You don't get to just lie. There's a record of everything. And I absolutely believe that somebody associated with Bo Diddley Do contacted that woman, Fuda's ex, the mother of his son. I believe it. Because he was very clear and he was very concise explaining how he knew it to be true. And at the end, and he had a folder, he had the documentation in his hand. And at the end, when Louis went up to him and tried to talk to him, see, Louis was playing that gaslight. I'm going to get to that. I'm sorry, y'all. I didn't mean for this to be this long, but we're going to be here a minute because I got to get to that too. Did y'all see Louis gaslighting at the end of that episode? At the end, listen. Louis is dangerous. Louis is dangerous. And that's I'm not changing up off of that. So if they keep a record, John Fuda would not have access to that record. John Fuda would know. He would be able to find out. Yes, he would. He'd be able to find out. Because again, remember, he wouldn't have access to her record file. But who's to say that this woman ain't told Fuda what happened? And when Louis was like, so you think that they're lying? You think that Louis telling the truth and you think they're lying still? Okay. So, and remember when Andy said, well, what would be his reason? It goes back to what Frank said. He was creating a smear campaign because what information did we get? What information did we get about Rachel? We found out, oh, Rachel's just doing this for a storyline. Oh, John won't let his son talk to his mother. Oh, they're keeping him away from his mother. Oh, they're such horrible people. Isn't that the information that came out? You said everybody is lying and putting 10 on 20. Okay. What they did involves a minor, so they could get access. Okay. That Key Marlito? Oh, I don't know if I said that right. But I believe because it was too, his explanation was too concise. Listen, when people lie, a lot of times it don't always make sense. That was too concise. That was A plus B equals C. That was very clear. And I do know, and shut up, Tracy, don't you say nothing about me and King Bay. But I know I've had friends in jail. You don't just get to call them up. You don't get to just roll up and visit. There's a record. And you're right, that makes sense. There's a minor involved. Oh, they already brought that up. They brought that up last season, Chuck. Chuck said, I wish they knew about Louis' ex filing a protective order too. What is the smear Phil? Phil, you just want to be you just all season long. What are you talking about? All season long with information that's being leaked to the bloggers, like all season long. Anyway, moving on because anyway. Okay. And here's the thing. Louis, I wrote in my notes here. Louis tried to backtrack, talking about he misspoke when he said Bo Dietl is not working for him. Bo Dietl didn't do any investigating, and he tried to I wrote in my notes, tried to backtrack, tried to backtalk. Oh, I misspoke. That wasn't true. I misspoke. Bruh, you ain't misspeak nothing. You meant exactly what you said, and you said exactly what you meant. You did not misspeak. You meant exactly what you said. You had that man investigating them, but and like Andy said, you didn't just say it once, but you said it twice. You said it because he was like, I was just so upset. I was just so upset. But when people get upset, I mean, you just make up whole lies. You just make up whole lies on people and very, very precise lies. Bo Dietl, you didn't say I had somebody investigate y'all. You were very specific. Bo Dietl is my friend. He's got files on everybody. Very specific. You were very specific, Louis. But here's the kicker for me. At the end of the day, what did Teresa keep saying? Prove it. You can't prove it. Prove it. See, when people start talking about proving stuff, that's when I have to side eye and be like, hmm. Now, mind you, Fuda had documentation. Marge had documentation. Hell, Frank had a one-on-one conversation with his son, even though they backtrack off of that. But I feel like Marge had, and they showed, because Andy even asked, Andy was like, well, why is your phone number on this paper calling her son? I don't know, Andy. I don't know. But I didn't do it. That wasn't me. Now, while they're going through all of this, they are arguing. While they're going through all of this back and forth, with him denying Bo Dietl did this and denying that Bo Dietl did that, Andy says, and this could have been edited, it might have been directly after that, but that's the way it looked on the show. Andy says, I'm getting a call from security, from production. They said that there's somebody downstairs trying to come up, a security guard, and that Bo Dietl sent him. The same Bo Dietl that doesn't do any work for you, the same Bo Dietl that didn't investigate anybody, literally the same Bo Dietl just sent you a security guard. And then literally Louis says, he's my friend. Our lives have been threatened. He's my friend. He's looking out for me. So you want me to believe that this man, by your own admission, one of the best private investigators in the country, maybe the world, I don't know, that he didn't do any background checks on anybody, yet he sent a whole security guard to the reunion because y'all were getting death threats. That makes sense to y'all? I mean, if it makes sense to y'all, put it in the chat. If that makes sense to y'all. But, baby, that sounded so crazy to me. That sounded so crazy to me. They said that Margaret was the one talking to, I feel like they were talking about his ex, somebody who's stalking and harassing them, and that Margaret was the one that's talking to them. And so again, I feel like you admitted that you were investigating Margaret in that back and forth. If you listen carefully, it sounded like they admitted that they were investigating Margaret, but they're trying to say that Margaret was the one that was talking to the ex and feeding. And they also said that Margaret was feeding stuff to the blogs. Listen, let me tell y'all a little secret. All of them send stuff to the blogs. All of them send stuff to the blogs. And when I say all of them, I don't mean on New Jersey. I mean in general. I know for a fact, because people have reached out to me, I know for a fact that people on different reality shows send information to bloggers that they feel comfortable with. They reach out to bloggers that they feel comfortable with. If they want a favorable interview or they want something favorable said, they send information. Especially if something happened on the show and they want to clear something up. And I ain't even that big of a blogger. So imagine if I was a Up and Adam or a Kim Pyre. Y'all don't think they get stuff? Because I get stuff. So saying that Marge is reaching out to the blogs, I'm be honest with you. Okay. She may very well be. But anyway, Margaret said that he is under investigation because they have the information. Okay, that's what they said. He is under investigation. Okay, child, Teresa's love bubble needs to pop. Okay, hold on. Oop, I can't read my own handwriting. I wrote Lou. Oh, Louis called her son. That's Margaret. Okay. Frank asked about a smear campaign. He said that word got back to him that there was, that they were putting a smear campaign on him and Joe, and that was a thing. He swore up and down that it wasn't. He said that he didn't do nothing and it wasn't a thing. Um, Please, there are blogs on Twitter that are very pro-truth. Exactly. There are people. I mean, again, there are blogs going both ways. There absolutely are. There absolutely are. There are blogs that are going both ways. You are absolutely correct. And that's on every show. And that doesn't mean that bloggers are compromised or that they're not good bloggers. It's not what I'm saying either. But I'm just saying that people do send information to us. That's just that. That's just that. People still send me stuff for shows I don't even review no more. And I'd be like, I don't know why you sending me this. I don't even review this show no more. Why are you sending me this? Anyway. Um, okay. Oh, I went out of order. Here's the pizza. Okay, wait a minute, hold on. All right, the pizza business. I already talked about that, child. So then they brought up about Teresa. I'm gonna drop the link in a minute if anybody wants to come up. So then they brought up Teresa going to jail and how Teresa blamed Joe, right? Now listen, Teresa's logic is crazy as hell. I don't already talked about this, but let me just say this. Frank actually broke attorney-client privilege because he said that because at the time Joe was his client, and Frank said that Joe did Joe did reach out. I mean that the FBI did reach out to Joe and wanted him to come and give an interview, and he wouldn't do it. He never did. So Teresa was like, I know he wouldn't do that. I'm just saying he was hanging out with the people who ratted on us. He was hanging out with the people who snitched on us. Again, girl, you snitched on yourself. You went on a reality show while you were committing a crime. You snitched on yourself. We're gonna go to the store. Uh, So I'm sorry. I'm not putting that on nobody. I mean, I don't know who Joe was or was not hanging out with. But what I do know is you went on a reality show while you were committing a felony. Girl, you snitched on yourself. Okay. Then Teresa kept quoting Margaret, 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 Margaret. And everybody was like, Teresa, I am so surprised that you are caping for anything that Jacqueline said. Did I say Margaret? I meant Jacqueline. That anything Jacqueline says. And everybody said the same thing. And then she had the nerve to say, I never fought with Jacqueline. And that's when they showed us all that old footage. When I said I was looking at Teresa's old face, they showed us all that old footage. Girl, what are you talking about? You literally was fighting with this woman. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't but child, they had enough footage of y'all arguing and fighting. Okay, they had plenty of footage of y'all arguing and fighting. Teresa just, ugh. Then when it was all over said and done, when everybody basically was like debunking it, she said it's Marge's fault that we are where we are. Even Andy was like, so everything is just Marge's fault. Like everything goes back to Margaret. Everything goes back to Margaret. So it's now it's Margaret's fault that you and your brother are not speaking. Now it's Margaret's fault. Like, girl, Teresa's a logic. And even Joe said that. Joe said that he was like, when Andy was, trying to get them to talk or whatever at the end. Joe was like, "There's nothing I can say to her because she's made it up in her mind, and the way her mind, it just there's nothing that can be said." He said he doesn't regret he doesn't regret not going to the wedding. So then they bring up the cheating rumor all over again. And we caught Teresa in a lie. Listen, let me tell y'all something. Again, I don't know if y'all caught what I caught, and y'all let me know if y'all think I'm putting 20 on 10. But I caught Teresa in a lie. Remember, during the season, in that final episode, remember, Teresa said she didn't know nothing. Remember, Teresa said that Louis called Joe and she didn't know nothing about it. She wasn't a part of that conversation. That was between Louis and Joe. Y'all remember that? Y'all remember that? Am I wrong? If I remember it wrong, tell me I'm remembering it wrong. But the way I remembered it, Teresa said that was Louis and Joe, that she didn't have nothing to do with it, that she didn't call Joe. She didn't that Louis called Joe and they had that conversation. Y'all remember that? So tonight, when Louis was explaining, he kept saying, we called Joe. We wanted to talk to Joe. We just wanted to let Joe what was being said. We. First, he tried to lie and say, oh, well, Joe came by the house. Then he had to clear it up and say, well, no, we called Joe. So what was it? Did Joe just happen to stumble and come by the house, or did you call Joe to come over there? Wait, I thought Caroline was the reason for her going to jail, the breakup of her relationship with her brother and global warming. Exactly, Jessica. Exactly. So now it's we instead of me, right? So Louis said that he heard the rumor. They didn't believe it, but they called Joe over there anyway. Listen, let me tell you something. If you didn't believe the rumor, you put a lot of energy into something you didn't believe. And if you didn't believe the rumor, why did you have to call Joe over to the house to tell him? Let me tell you something. That would have been a hey, bro. Yeah, let me tell you what happened to me today. It was so crazy. Some dude came up to me in a restaurant and told me that, yeah, they saw your wife. I knew it was crazy because I knew y'all was in the Bahamas last week. So that had to be a lie. I know, right? That's stupid, right? Why would you go through the trouble of calling Joe over there, having a whole like, oh, I need to tell you something, meeting with him without his wife, if you didn't believe it, if you weren't putting any energy into it? Caroline did an interview recently saying she was there for a phone call. What phone call? I don't know what do you mean? What phone call? So at the end of the day, I don't know whether the rumors are true or not. Like, I don't know if Teresa, I don't know if Melissa out there doing what she's doing, child. I don't know. Melissa may or may not be. But I feel like y'all absolutely were trying to cause problems. Because the way you handled it tells me that you felt like there was some credence to the rumor. Because if you didn't feel like there was any credence to the rumor, you would have handled it like you didn't feel like it was any credence to the rumor. But you handled it like you thought it was true, like you felt like you needed to sit down and have a come to Jesus moment with Joe, and y'all had to talk this out. That's what it sounds like to me. Then they called Gia because Joe said that Gia even called him and said, you can do better than Melissa. Now, I don't think that's what Gia said. Gia said that she called him and basically begged him to come to the wedding. Do I think Gia said something that Joe may have interpreted that way? Maybe. But I don't think that Gia used those words. I don't. I don't think Gia used those words. What I do think, what I do think is that Teresa has invited Gia into grown folks' business. And I think that Gia knows about this rumor that's going around and it may have come up in the conversation. Maybe Gia brought up the rumor, but I don't think that Gia used those words. I just don't. Honestly, I don't. Now, I'm trying to be fair about this. I don't think she used those words. Do I think that the conversation went in a direction where that's the impression that Joe walked away with? Maybe. And I say maybe, not yes. Maybe. But I don't think those words were used. Now, Teresa got upset. She got up and walked off stage because she was like, he's lying on my daughter. He's lying. He's lying. He's lying. Here's where the gaslighting is coming in. Exactly, Chuck. It's not the first time lying. Louis said Gia told Joe to do better. That's what he said in the back. All right, Deborah. See, you got ahead of me, but you're right. You got ahead of me, Deborah. But that's where I was getting ready to go. Here's where the gaslighting starts. And gaslighting might not be the right word because gaslighting is another word that people overuse. So that might not be the right word, okay? But let's just say for right now, let's just leave gas. Let's just blah, 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 blah. For right now, let's leave it at gaslighting. I may be using the wrong word, but let's use that word. This whole episode, Louis was nasty. This whole episode, Louis was threatening. I didn't even say none of that, but Louis threatened all of them. I mean, it was a veiled threat, but it was a threat nonetheless. Louis threatened them. All of a sudden, they go backstage and they get Gia on the phone, and Louis is like, I got her, Gia. Your mama's doing really good. She's doing really good." And then that's when he said, "Well, Gia, maybe you said, maybe you just said, oh, well, you can do better." Maybe that's what Gia said. I don't think maybe Gia did, because when Andy went back there, now all of a sudden Louis trying to find a way out, right? Well, maybe that's not what he heard. Maybe he heard, Gia said you could do better. Like, you know better than this. You know that Nana would be unhappy. You can do better. I said, oh, here's where he flipping the script. Here's where he's flipping it. And you saw him go from angry and threatening and nasty, and now all of a sudden he's giving Joe a way out. Well, maybe that's not what he heard. Maybe this is what he heard. Maybe he heard this. Maybe that's what he heard. Callie Girl said, I believe that's exactly what Gia said. Gia is a master manipulator and learned it from her parents. Go watch the past seasons. Now, I do believe that Gia is grown and in grown folk business. I don't care if she's 22 or not. She in grown folk business, okay? I do believe that Teresa has allowed her to be in grown folk business. I do believe that Teresa has put her in grown folk business. And do I think that Gia has an opinion about Joe and Melissa? Absolutely. I absolutely believe she has an opinion about Joe and Teresa. Absolutely. And do I think that she said some things that were inappropriate? Yeah. Yeah. Uh-huh. So, with that being said, they go back outside. I mean, Teresa goes back out and sits on the thing. And Deborah said that's exactly what Gia said. Okay, so y'all think that's what Gia said. Okay, honey. Okay, y'all. So with that being said, I even wrote it in my notes, Louis gaslighting. And then they do this back and forth where basically they go around the room, everybody says their piece, and they want Teresa and Joe to have the final word. Now, I'm gonna give Joe credit, in my opinion. I'm gonna give Joe credit. Joe said, Joe said, right now I'm angry. Right now I'm upset. Right now I'm pissed off with you. But if you were to get into a car accident, I'll be there. If you were to get sick, I'll be there. And baby Teresa wouldn't even let him get that out. Teresa said, no, you're supposed to honor me. You don't honor me. You're supposed to honor me. You didn't honor me. So I said, well, damn, Joe trying to tell you that at the end of the day, you still his sister and he still love you, right? Uh Gia has been talking for Teresa for years. Oh wow. Teresa has been more than just allowing her to be in grown folk business. Teresa has told her everything as if she's a 45-year-old female. There's nothing that Gia does not know. Okay. I hear you. I hear y'all. Um, and basically Teresa was like, "That's it. That's all. Don't want to talk to you no more. I'm done with it. I'm being my love bubble. Whatever, whatever." And that's pretty much where the episode ended. So then when it was over, when the guys were walking off, Joe said, Joe told the guys, "Y'all come on back to my room. Let's take a shot." I don't think he meant Louis because him and Louis decided that was it. They wasn't gonna say nothing to each other. Louis gets up out of the table. Louis gets up out of his seat, and y'all saw the look on Andy's face when Louis jumped up out of his seat. Baby, Andy was like, "Oh shit." He goes over to shake Frank's hand because Frank asked him, I don't know, whatever it was, but he goes over to shake Frank's hand. Then he shakes Joe's hand. I said, okay, here we go. This is the manipulator, right? So then as they're walking off stage, Louis goes over to Rachel and says, "I think you're a great mom. And I think that what you're doing is great." What? And then he goes to Joe Fuda, or John Fuda, child. He goes to Fuda, tries to shake his hand. And I love it. Fuda said, "You got to admit what you did first." He said, you can't apologize to me. You can't try to make peace with me. You can't shake my hand until you admit what you did." And Louis was like, "But I didn't do anything." He said, "You did do it, and I have the proof." He said, "So be a man and admit that you did it. Admit that you investigated me. I have the proof. I know you did it." Baby, they got ready to argue. Joe had to get in between. Joe Gorga had to get in between them and be like, it's okay, let's go, let's just go. But baby, he tried that shit on John. Thank you, John. He tried that shit on John Fuda. John Fuda said, "No, no, sir. No, no, ma'am, no, Pam. Mm-mm. Not happening." He said, "You until you admit what you did, nah, we not shaking hands. We ain't friends. We ain't cool." And that's why I'm sorry, y'all. Phil, I know you feel differently, and that's fine. We all can feel how we feel. But that's why I do believe that he has proof. And I believe what he said. Again, it was just too precise. It was too precise. I believe Fuda. I believe him 100%. I believe him 100%. I believe Marge. Now, the question is, was it Louis on the phone? But they have proof that it was Louis's phone number. Now I know they're just gonna say, "Oh, well, the people spoofing the phones," but like Mark said, my son at his job, it's not like my cell phone number that everybody has. It's not like but my son who doesn't get on the show, who doesn't film, his job, nah, that's not a coincidence. That's not an accident. That's not a coincidence. Mm-mm. No, ma'am, Pam. Mm-mm. And I do believe that Bo Diddley Do has a file on every single I do. And if they do have any dirt, like Frank said, shit, my business is out there. Y'all can say what y'all want to say. Y'all know all my business. He was disbarred and all she said, but there's always something. I do too, because Louis said he didn't know who John Fuda is, but then you want to come over there and be fake. Right. When you watch the older seasons, you will see how Teresa involves her kids in the adult affairs. I believe it. I believe it now. I believe it because I see how she does now. I don't see it to that extent, but that's what I'm saying. I do believe. I don't, and that's what I'm saying. I don't. Well, let me stop saying I don't believe because that's a strong word to say I don't believe. Because I kind of do believe, but I didn't want to. I kind of do believe, but I do believe Gia said something derogatory. I do believe that. I believe Gia said something derogatory, and I do believe that Gia believes whatever her mother says. So if her mother says it's Melissa's fault, then I believe her. She thinks it's Melissa's fault. And I believe that. Child. But anyway, I dropped the link. Nobody came up. I'll drop the link one more time and give you guys a few minutes. But I ain't gonna be here all night. I didn't mean to be here this long. I didn't think it was gonna take me this long to talk about it, but it was a lot. So the Real Housewives of New Jersey is officially done, child. It is officially done. And they are on a break. They're not even gonna start filming again until August. So my predictions. Here are my predictions. I believe. I don't believe Melissa gets fired. I don't believe Marge gets fired. I do think it's gonna be a rough season though. I think it'll be a rough season to film. The producer now, it just depends on how toxic it gets. It depends on how toxic it gets. Um, hey Phil. Oh, I guess he'll come back. Um, I think if they feel like they can maneuver around, I feel like if they think they can maneuver around, Phil, you dropped off. Come back up. I don't know what happened. Oh, here he is. If they can maneuver around the toxicity, I think they will. Because why wouldn't they? Marge got a whole storyline. Melissa got a whole storyline. I don't know. All right, what's up, Phil?
Hey, Really B. Hey, everybody. I am not a troll. I'm just a man with a different opinion. I
Okay, well,
don't
give us your
trust.
opinion.
I don't trust Louis. Let me say that first. I don't trust Louis. I do think some truth is when it can't be everybody and not you. I always say that it can't be everybody and not you. My issue is why y'all doing some things with this man and y'all don't even know him. He is a stranger doing business ventures, letting your son work for him. Y'all don't know this man. I think that's very odd and strange. I just don't get it. I also think one of my other issues is with this whole situation is Teresa and Joe is family. Like their parents are deceased. They don't talk to their cousin, Kathy, both of them. So they
And why
really
don't
do.
they talk to her cousin?
I don't know. I know why Teresa doesn't talk to them, but I don't know why Melissa and Joe don't talk to Kathy.
Because Teresa told them not to talk to Kathy and Rosie.
No, because they
Yes,
were always
yes,
cool
yes,
with
yes.
Kathy and
No,
Rosie.
no. They were always cool. And then when Teresa said she's cutting out the cancer, they had to go along with her.
I disagree. They would
And
never
I
do that because they were never that close.
go back and watch it.
I've watched every season. They
I
were
have to. I have
Melissa
to.
and Joe. I don't
No,
know why they're not friends with Kathy and
Okay,
them.
wait a minute.
It
Hold
can.
on. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Hold on. Hold on. We can't talk over each other because I want to hear this. So you brought up Kathy. So Deborah is trying to explain it. What season, Deborah? Do you remember what season this was?
It had to be. It had to be 5 or 6. No, 6 is when Teresa went to jail. So it might have been the 6th season because Kathy was still on there. Then Kathy and Rosie were still there. They went. She went to them and said, I'm counting out the cancer," and then they were gone. Okay, and then Melissa had to follow suit. If you look at that reunion, they're sitting next to each other
You
holding
muffled. You're
hands.
muffled. You do you have your microphone covered? You have your muffled. I can't hear you.
And
You were clear at first, and then you kind of went out.
is that better?
Yes, that's much better. Much better. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So if you look at that reunion, they're sitting holding hands, and because Teresa didn't think she was coming back, so they cut out Rosie and Kathy for Teresa. Period. So you can go back and watch it because
Okay.
I've
So I
watched
have to go
every
back and
every
watch it.
season too. You need, and I think it was
Okay.
season
So
4. There was an episode to show you how Gia has always talked for Teresa. Melissa wanted Antonia to have a play date with Melania. And so she had text Teresa, and Teresa didn't know what to say. Gia grabbed the phone and made the text. So Gia's been talking for Teresa for years. for years.
Got you. All right, Brandon said that Melissa admitted this season that they stopped talking to Kathy and Rosie because Teresa basically gave them an ultimatum.
Exactly.
Brandon saying,
Ex-
thank you.
If Melissa and Joe stop
oh,
talking to
Jesus.
Kathy and Rosie, their own family, why wouldn't they stop talking to Margaret too? According, what I remember that Kathy said is once she got fired from the show, they felt like Joe and Melissa didn't have a use for them.
That is true, but it was because of Teresa that they put them down. If it hadn't been for Teresa making them, you know, turn on their cousins, they wouldn't have, because they
But
partied
why
all
wouldn't
the
they
time.
turn on Margaret? Why wouldn't
But
they turn on Margaret? If it was that easy, why wouldn't they turn on Margaret?
she
And
tried
Joe
it.
and
It just
Melissa
didn't
have a
work.
mind of
It
their
just
own as
didn't work.
well.
She tried it. It just didn't work.
So you telling me that they will turn on their own family before they turn on a stranger?
You have to. You have to. Okay, we're talking about season 5, and then we're going to go all the way up to whenever Teresa came home in
No, no,
season.
no.
I
I'm
think
just asking. That's what I'm saying. I'm like, if Teresa told them to cut off Kathy and Rosie and they did, why wouldn't they then cut off Marge as well? Kathy and Rosie is family, and Kathy and Rosie was always there for them, even when
because
Teresa wasn't.
I think they
Well,
learned
when
their
did Teresa
lesson.
ask her to cut them out?
Yes, she demanded that they
Well,
turn their
when did
backs.
Teresa ask them to cut Marge?
She 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 didn't ask them to, but I think she expected loyalty from them, because she always told me,
Right,
"You
that's
never
what made
had
me
my
feel.
back."
Yeah, right.
I couldn't hear the question.
No, I was saying, when did Teresa ask them to cut Marge off? When, I don't remember that. Was that before the season
She
got
never
launched?
did.
No, last season when she had all those issues with Mark, she was telling them, "I'm your family. You choose me over your family." She's been saying that from the start when she started having beef with
That was
Marge.
no,
But
no, no, no. Hold on, but
but
that was after the fact. No, Teresa used that as an excuse after the fact. Teresa didn't say in the moment. That was after the fact, and that was after they were already arguing and stuff. Because remember, a lot of that came up at this season, because she said that's the reason why she didn't invite her to be in the wedding, because she felt like she didn't have her back when it came to Margaret. All of that was an excuse that Teresa used after the fact. She
right,
she she was mad at Margaret last season, but she was mad at Margaret because about the whole Louis thing, and she felt like, oh, y'all didn't, but she didn't give them an ultimatum. That wasn't an ultimatum. That was after the fact. She punished them, and that's what this whole. Again, people got to pay, not y'all, but I'm saying in general, people got to pay attention to what Teresa says. Teresa said at the beginning why she didn't put Melissa in the damn wedding. Now she could come up with 500 other excuses later, but she didn't put Melissa in the wedding because she was punishing her because she didn't have her back against Margaret. She said that in the first episode. She
exactly.
said it. So all this stuff that happened after the fact, and if I was Melissa, I don't understand why people don't understand why Melissa didn't change her mind. Because I ain't changing my mind either. You don't want me in your wedding. The only reason why you're changing, you're adding me now is because people are making you feel bad about it. You don't want me in your wedding, and I'm not an afterthought. So thank you, but no thank you. And I would have done the same. Ain't no way in hell I'd have been in that wedding.
So
Exactly.
I definitely agree with you on that one. But for Melissa too, you don't even like Teresa or Louis, so why would you even want to be in the wedding?
Well, she didn't want to be in the wedding.
She
Period.
did want to be in that wedding
No,
because
she
she
did
made a
not.
big deal about not being in the wedding. Teresa and Melissa don't like each other. When
Let me
Teresa
tell
didn't put her in the wedding, I was like, she don't. Why would you want to be in a wedding? Y'all don't like each other. Like it's not a big deal.
you,
Well, I'm guessing for the same
I
reason
don't know how it works on the man
Melissa put
side.
Teresa in her wedding many years ago, because we know she didn't care
Right.
for
I don't know
Melissa.
how
But
it works on the man side, but I'm gonna tell you how it works on the female side. And on the female side, I can tell you right now that I have been in weddings and I have spent hundreds of dollars on a wedding for people that I do not like. That is just how life goes.
Really?
I have family members. Yes. Yes.
See, on a dude
And I'm
side,
trying
it's
to get out
different.
of them.
On the man's side, it's different because if I don't want to be in it, oh, I ain't doing it. I'm not interested. No, thank you. Let a friend do it. Let
I
somebody
mean, am
else
I
do it.
tripping? People,
No, you're not
tell me in
tripping.
the chat. Am I tripping?
Nope.
Okay, because I mean, hell, I mean, I don't want to say no names because I don't want the wrong people. The wrong people might be watching me. I don't want to tell nobody. But listen, I've been in weddings for friends who I knew they were married. I knew they were marrying an asshole, and I knew the wedding wasn't gonna last. But it wasn't my. Listen, that's they wedding. That's they people. You know, you in love. You don't see what I see. Just like Teresa and Louis. You don't see what I see. So you know, okay, I'm being your wedding. You want me to be in your wedding? I've done destination weddings. I mean, it's just what you do. And as a woman, there's a certain point in your life where everybody getting married. Like all your friends just seem to be getting married within a 5 or 6 window. And the reality is that is your sister-in-law. That should just be automatic. Whether you listen, certain people just like inviting her mother. Certain things are what you do, especially when you're having a big wedding. When you're having a small wedding, that's one thing. You can use that as an excuse. But when you are literally inviting people from Dubai that you have never fucking met, ain't no way in hell you wasn't supposed to invite your sister-in-law and your mother and the mother of your sister-in-law to a wedding, and they've been married for 20 years. Come on, no,
Exactly.
uh.
But if I don't like you, I'm not gonna go.
The
Okay,
same
like I
as
said, it's different. I guess it's just different.
the same as Melissa put Teresa in her wedding. And remember last year at the reunion, she was pissed because she was pregnant for the wedding.
I'm
Like
listening,
Melissa
y'all.
was supposed to plan her wedding around Teresa's pregnancies. Come on now.
Well, we know Teresa is a lunatic. Now that was just
Well,
dumb.
how can she be a lunatic now then and she ain't a lunatic now? She's still the
No,
same
she
lunatic. She's the
no, she
same
is.
lunatic.
She's definitely the same lunatic. I just don't think she's on the lunatic island by herself. I think they all play a role in it and they all have a part in it. I think they all do something. I think that for me, when I look at Teresa, Joe, and Melissa, I think it's really more Teresa and Joe versus Melissa. I think Melissa is just collateral damage.
No, that doesn't make sense to me. That
It
that's
doesn't.
crazy. No. I
You
think
don't think Joe is trying to compete to be the number one person on the show versus Teresa?
no.
Oh, okay.
Okay, hold on, y'all. I have a super chat. Hold on, I had to step away for a second, but hold on. Jessica said Trey didn't have anyone else then. Now she has Dolores, Jennifer, Aiden, etc. It's much easier for her to cut them off. So
Especially
let me
especially
say this.
Jennifer.
Yeah. Oh, Jennifer is definitely her lapdog. Oh my gosh. All Jennifer spent this whole reunion doing was second and whatever Teresa said, she just was yep. But let me say this. I hear what you're saying, Phil, about the fact that a lot of them have culpability in where they are and how they got there. But here's what I feel like because for example, and I haven't even been watching the show. But I absolutely believe that they went behind Teresa's back and got on the show. I believe that. I absolutely believe that. And I believe that they wanted to be on reality television. I mean, who wouldn't? Like they did. But if I'm just gonna look independently at the last 3 seasons, I've only been watching this show for 3 seasons. Okay, so let me be very clear. I've only been watching the show for 3 seasons, but in the 3 seasons that I have been watching this show, Teresa is unreasonable. Her expectations of people, the expectation of loyalty, the expectation of blind, I'm right, everybody else is wrong. The crazy, if I don't like them, you're not supposed to like them. That is so high school. That is so ridiculous to me. And to be honest, nobody can live up to that standard for an extended period of time. Because let me tell you something. They ain't gonna get rid of Dolores because Dolores and Teresa gonna have beef next season. Because did you see when Dolores stood up against Teresa in part two and part one? She wasn't going along with Teresa, and you saw what Teresa said to her. Oh, well, do what you gotta do, babe. Do what you gotta do, babe. I said, oh, Teresa about to get Dolores. And it's gonna be Jennifer and Dolores against. And if they do get rid of Melissa, it's still gonna be Jennifer. It's still gonna be Teresa against the world because everybody walked away from this reunion having an issue with, for the exception of Jennifer. Well, no, Danielle, but child, she don't count either. But everybody walked away from this reunion having an issue with Teresa. So no matter what they do with Melissa or with Marge, it doesn't change.
So the funny thing, oh, I'm sorry. The funny thing for which for me in watching the show from the start, I've just become a Teresa fan. Teresa was absolutely horrible, horrible. The first seasons until she went to jail, she was awful. She was awful to Melissa. She was horrible. I've only become a Teresa fan since she's come out of jail. I think Teresa is slow. And you're not supposed to pick on those with special needs. I think Teresa is slow, but I think the thing with Teresa, from what I'm listening to some interviews with Carlos and some other things, everything Teresa is saying has not been wrong because people are confirming the things that she was saying over the years. So that made me look at I'm not Marge, but Melissa a little differently. But the real issue that I have with Teresa and Melissa is I think that they're trying to change the face of New Jersey and they're too dumb to realize it.
Well, way back when it first started, the show was supposed to be Dina was the lead and Jacqueline. And then they brought in Caroline. Remember? And then
Mm-hmm.
because of them, they brought in Teresa and Dolores. But at the time, Dolores didn't want to do it because her then boyfriend, not Frank, but her then boyfriend didn't want any part of it. And that's how we got Danielle Staub. So that was season 1. Season 1 brought Teresa. Teresa wasn't supposed to be the star, but when she flipped that table, that made her the star. Then in
Mm-hmm.
season 2, if you remember, Danielle Staub was the one everybody hated, and that was the season that Teresa knocked at the reunion. Teresa knocked Andy in that chair when Danielle brought up Joey, who was the baby at the time, Melissa's baby, and she said to her, "Have you visited your nephew?" And that's when she came after Danielle. Andy got up and she knocked the shit out of Andy. And in my opinion, she should have been gone that season. Melissa and Joe didn't come until season 3. So they've been on for 13 seasons. I mean, for 10 seasons. Do you mean after 10 seasons, even if they did go, and they didn't go behind her back, but even if they did, it's 10 seasons in. Come on now.
So yes, Teresa should definitely let it go. Now I agree with you on that one. She should definitely let it go. My issue with Melissa and Joe is I feel like when people like Marge and Jackie come after Teresa, they don't have her back. I felt like when Jackie came, I felt like it's kind of weird because I felt like Marge and Teresa started off as such good friends. They were really, really close. I think when Jackie got added, I think she definitely came in coming for Teresa, and Melissa was like, no, she wasn't. It was clear that she was. I feel like even last season with her issues with Marge, if I'm telling you stop talking about my partner, like you just stop. Like if you respect me enough as your friend, you just stop. If I say stop, I don't want to talk about something and I don't want you talking behind my back, you just stop.
But they
I don't
did
think
stop.
But
They did
they
stop.
did not
but
stop.
Teresa
Yeah, they
talks
did.
about everybody else. Teresa has talked about Melissa.
They
Teresa
already
thinks
gave
that
them up for
Melissa took Joe. Hey, really? Teresa thinks that Melissa took Joe away from her, and
Oh
she has
yeah, she
hated
definitely
her
does.
from day one.
Oh yeah.
That's where the jealousy stemmed from. She said she had people come on to say Melissa was a prostitute.
Oh yeah.
She did have people come on to say Melissa was a stripper. Melissa has bent over backwards to try to be friends with Teresa. See, people like to start in the middle. They don't like to go back to the beginning. I
Exactly,
done watched
Auntie.
this from day one. Teresa has always been nasty. Jill has always been too grown. She done cursed Joe out. So I believe she told him Melissa he could do better than Melissa. She has cursed him. She has Jill has from a little bitty kid. If there'd have been mine, I'd have knocked in her mouth the first time she did it. My son 48, and I dare him to cuss my
I
sister out.
remember.
He'll be toothless.
Mm.
I agree, Aunt Nettie.
When
You're right.
Teresa was good with Joe and Melissa when she didn't have a man, when she got out of prison. She gets dumb, illiterate, and gullible when a man come into her life.
Right.
Joe Judice calling
Mm.
bees and everything to another woman on the phone on TV. But she got mad at Joe because he tried to take up for her with Joe Judice. Juducci, whatever their name is now. It's been changed 4 times since they came on the show.
Remember when
Everybody
he
is
said?
not lying.
Remember when he said
You
they
know,
was at vineyard and he goes, "Here comes my
yeah,
cunt bitch wife," and then what did she do? Screw him on a
yeah,
tree.
yeah. But and he was talking to his
He was
girlfriend
talking
then.
to his girlfriend, right?
Louis, Louis'
Yeah.
ex
Teresa
right now
Teresa
is a therapist, and she that Bo Diddy Witty, he sent somebody in to pretend to be her patient to get information on her. And how she found out when she billed the lady, it came back that that wasn't even the person's real name.
Right.
And you know how you investigate to find people to get your money? That was an employee of Bo Diddy's. She's suing Louis for that right now.
Right. That's right. That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah, we had talked about that. Yeah. So let me ask y'all a question then. So let
See,
me ask y'all
Louis,
a question because listen. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead, finish up.
Louis is gonna take Teresa, but and the reason he put everything in Teresa's name, Louis ain't got no money. Teresa ain't got no money. She got all them tax liens. And Louis got big broken as she is. And you right. When he dog her out, she gonna tuck her tail, and Joe gonna be right there. And
I don't know.
disrespect for Jill gonna be going on with her man, and them other disrespect for children she got. And then she gonna have nobody to lean on but Melissa and Joe, 'cause that alcoholic Jennifer gonna be somewhere drunk up under the table because Bill is out there in the pool house.
Yep. 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 You are right. You are right.
That man
That was
still
actually gonna
got
be
a
my question.
girlfriend.
So Deborah, okay, so Deborah and Phil. Oh, I'll start with Deborah, then I'm gonna come to Phil. So let me ask y'all this: what are y'all predictions then? Because people see what they saw, and I have to go back and look at the other seasons, and then I'll tell y'all how I feel. But what do y'all see for next season? Do you think anybody's going to get fired? Who do you think is going to get fired? And I'll come back around to you, Auntie. But I'm gonna start with Deborah, then Phil, then I'll come back around to Aunt Nettie.
I think they're going to look at the ratings for the season. They saw the ratings. Their ratings were over 1 million. They're not going to change the cast with ratings at over 1 million. They're talking about adding, I think, DJ Envy's wife and Remy Ma. I don't want to see that. I don't want to
Yeah,
see
that
that because
I don't think that's a
I think they just need, if they're Italians up there, be Italian all you want to be. Just y'all got that one. I don't want to see it. I don't think
I'd
they
rather
may
them
add a
start
couple
another
of people.
franchise.
I, I don't care what they do. I just don't want them putting black people in New Jersey. I just
No,
don't
I'm just
want to see
no,
it.
no, no. I'm just saying. I agree with you. Yeah, I'm sorry. I have a delay, so I don't mean to talk over y'all. But I agree with you. I think if they are going to do that, I would rather them start another franchise because this franchise really has its own personality and it really is Italian based. And I just don't think that Remy Ma would fit in. I don't think that DJ Envy's wife would fit in. If you realize that this is the only franchise that it's a whole state. Like
Right.
there's no other franchises. Every other franchise is a city. So if they were to come up with the Real Housewives of Newark, or Patterson or something like that. I think that would be better than for them to try to play, because Remy Ma ain't fitting in that group. Like,
It,
and I love me some Remy, but that is
She
not
be
gonna
done
work.
told Teresa tail up. She be done whoop Teresa all over the place.
I don't know
Yeah,
much about
that
New
just ain't gonna
Jersey,
work.
but I'm
That
sure there's a black city in New Jersey that would be the Housewives of whatever that city is. I
absolutely.
just don't want to see them here with these folks. So I don't. They may bring in another friend or two, but I think they're gonna leave this cast just like it is because they ain't seen a million plus. There was a million plus, you know, ratings in a while. So I don't see them
Mhm.
touching that. I don't. I just don't see it. But we'll see.
I
And you know what they're going to
I
tell
agree.
Teresa? You either
So
get on the
what
band,
do
you
you
either get on the wagon, or carry on without you. So
I agree. I agree. What do you think, Phil? What are your predictions?
I agree with Deborah. I don't want to see DJ Envy nothing. I don't even like the Breakfast Club. And Remy Ma would not fit in, but I do think her and Teresa would be friends because they both been to prison. I think the cast is gonna stay the same, but I want them to add Jacqueline as a friend or a guest of the show.
well, she is a friend of the show, and she
No,
was here.
Jacqueline
No, we talking
Larita.
about
Oh
Jacqueline
no,
Rita.
Jacqueline Rito is trying to get into the OC because she
Oh,
just moved
Jacqueline, the
back
one
to
that
the
started with
OC.
all this mess.
Right. She's over that side that side of the country. So in fact, she's already moved to the OC. So I expect her to be on the OC tussling with Tamara. That's what I expect.
Hmm.
Yeah, but I would love for them. I think the cast is gonna stay the same. It ain't changing. Teresa ain't going nowhere. She need the check. Joe and Melissa want the check. Ain't nobody going nowhere. They gonna be filming next season, looking crazy at each other and arguing, trying to come back. But Carlos and them was saying that it may be a March takedown season next season. So I don't know.
But Marge isn't stupid, so
Well, they
she's
tried
ready
that this
for him.
season. That's what they. That's
Yeah,
what they. That's what they tried to do this season, and you saw what happened. They this whole
exactly.
season was about trying to make Marge look like this mastermind, look like this horrible person. That's why they set Danielle up. Poor thing. Now I think Danielle gonna get demoted because the way they moved her around like a rag doll this whole season. I think she's gonna get demoted. And she's gonna be a friend of next season. I think so. Miss Aunt Natty, what do you think for next season? What predictions do you have for next season?
It's gonna stay the same. Did you hear Andy when Teresa made that statement about this the last time I'm gonna get to see you? Andy say
Yeah, he said
I
let me know
want
how
to
that
see
work
that.
out for you.
Yep. But what I do think they gonna try to get Danielle to bring her brother on.
Yeah, I agree.
If
If
that's
her
the
brother
only
will
way
come on,
she
they'll keep her. But if her brother doesn't come on, I think she gets demoted.
yeah, she won't get demoted then. They already tried, they've been going at Marge from day one. They done talked about Marge's mama. Teresa had Danielle to pull Marge's hair. And y'all talk about what Marge shouldn't say about Teresa.
No,
Teresa
no,
and
no,
Jack
no.
and Jim.
Hold on, Aunt Nettie. Hold on. Teresa did try to get
Hold
Danielle to
on.
pull Marcus hair.
Let her finish, and then I'll let you rebuttal. Let her finish. Go ahead.
Danielle spilled the beans when her and Teresa fell out. Teresa told her to go over there and pull Marge's hair that time they was in that shop. Yes, sir. They have talked about her mother. They done talked about her. So Marge need to spill the beans she got on all of them. I like Marge. Cause Marge, and she'll say which I said it. You said you called me a home wreck and your husband what you called me a cheater and your husband a cheater. But you talked about me and my mama. If they get rid of anybody, I want them to get rid of that alcoholic. Her only storyline is being Teresa's lap dog. All she needs is Teresa put a bowl of
She
liquor
is
down by the
Lord.
kitchen counter and she get down there and lap it up and blaming everybody
Yeah,
cause
I
her
can't. I'm
daughter
gonna tell
want to
you, I
be
ain't
a
gonna lie.
she blamed Marge cause her daughter want to be a therapist. Girl, get out of here. Your daughter won't be. She has no control over her disrespect for kids either. It's
She
gonna
she
stay the
she
same.
All
She
right.
cares more about that child
But
than
if
the
they
one that said she was getting bullied at school. Gabriella was getting bullied at school, and all she told her was, "Oh, just take it." No,
if they bring Remy Ma on there, her and Teresa might bond over prison. But that bullying stuff Teresa do, it wouldn't go over well with Remy Ma. She wouldn't last but one episode because she be done drug Teresa all over Jersey.
got that right. So,
Teresa is
All
a
right, Phil,
bully.
what were you gonna
And
say?
that's why she
Phil, what were you? I'm sorry, Phil. What were you gonna say? Because I'm great. I'm getting ready to shut this down, y'all. It's
I
11:15.
was
I
gonna
gotta go to
say
work in the morning.
I enjoyed you ladies, and I love being in a chat. We can have difference of opinion, but I love everybody. But with that March
I
thing,
do too.
March threw that water on that girl, and she deserved everything she got because she kept messing with the girl. Once she threw that water on her, you get what you get.
But that girl brought up Marge's stepkids, and Marge had never said anything about her children, and her stepkids are not on the show. She should have never brought them up. Marge does not have any biological children, and she threw that in her face and brought up her stepchildren who are not a part of the show. So you bring up mine, you get what you get.
I I agree, Aunt Nettie.
Well,
I
thank you
agree.
guys very much. And again, I
It
agree
was
with Phil. We can
fun.
disagree.
Thank you.
Thank you. We can disagree, and we don't have to be disagreeable. And I love hearing all points of view. I look forward to binge watching this and then telling y'all how I really feel after I see it for myself, honey.
Okay.
I can't
Well,
wait for
Artwork
them reviews, honey.
in the
really
artwork. Next
be.
time you try to click the link because I want to hear what you say.
Well, start
All right, good
start
night, y'all. Love you, ladies.
really be start
Love you too,
All
Phil.
right, Phil. Good
season
night, boo.
6. Good night.
If I'm gonna start, I'm gonna
Good
start from the
night.
beginning because I need to know
We'll
everything
start
Yeah,
from
that's
the
going
start
beginning.
from the
on.
Yeah,
beginning.
start from the beginning.
Because it's a lot of stuff I just don't
Because
have the
Caroline
institutional
was a
knowledge.
boss in the
So I need.
beginning.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, the show wasn't centered around Teresa. I know that. Yeah. And like I said, Joe didn't even want Teresa to do the show. Well, I know now because he was out here committing crimes and shit. But he didn't even want Joe. He didn't even want Teresa to do the show. So I'm gonna go back to the beginning and I'm gonna work my way up, child. I'm gonna
Yeah,
work my way up.
do that because you'll see
My
how
prayer,
everything, and if you want another backstory, I don't know if when you get to the, and I think it was season 3, they went to the Dominican Republic, ever in Punta Cana. Anyway, they had finished wrapping. They'd finished, everything was done, so they were like doing whatever they do. Well, Teresa decides to shake up a bottle of champagne and spray it on everybody. A fight broke out. They all got detained down in the Dominican Republic until NBC sent their lawyers in. That wasn't on the show. That's something that was in the
What?
book. Yeah, yep, yeah. That was in the book. All diamonds, all
That is
diamonds.
crazy.
Yep, yep. It was the
I
Manzo
pray that
boys.
Teresa wakes up because if she don't wake up, Louis gonna have her in prison like Joe did. I pray
Well,
that she wakes up before it's too
I
late.
agree.
well, she ain't
I
woke.
agree
So
with you on that one.
as long as she don't sign, well, you know what? She put her name on papers. That's well. She didn't go to jail because of what. She went to jail because the judge was making an example of her because she continued to try to hide assets. That was her on her. Because
She kept
if you
lying.
listen,
She
did
kept
you did
lying.
you listen to the Bravo docket? Have you listened to that?
Uh-uh.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. She kept lying.
Right.
She kept
And
lying on
and,
the
and
document. Yeah, she kept lying, and because the judge was going to give her probation, but she
right.
kept lying.
She kept lying and hiding assets,
Well,
hiding assets. So, and how are they gonna tell somebody
she
they don't
doing
have a
that
car in
now.
New Jersey? Hmm. And she doing that
Well,
now,
she
right?
saying she don't know nothing about the pizza thing, but Louis say everything in her name. So you got to know something if everything in your name.
Exactly. Well, well, she signed it on a
Okay.
dotted line before, so maybe she'll sign on a dotted line again. But she'll be in
Uh,
jail like
Artworld, welcome back.
Julie.
Uh, Artworld, welcome. But I'm
I'm
gonna
gonna
let
be
you
real
speak. 'Cause I'm about to
quick.
get over here. It's late, but I
Okay.
know I want. You've been disagreeing in the chat. You've been disagreeing.
Yes.
So I'm gonna let you have your piece, baby.
Okay. I want to be real quick. Now, the thing with Marge and Jen, Marge started that beef with Jen. Marge made comments about Jen's heritage with the arranged marriages. And let me, since we say we're going to start at B, let me go back. Jen did when they went to that Oklahoma, I believe. Jen was speaking out of line. She immediately apologized, but she's a mom, 5 children. This was her first girls trip. She didn't really know how to act, but she apologized immediately. Then Marge came back, did the same thing Jen did, spoke on something she had no idea about, and she kept going with that. So when Jen retaliated, Marge wanted to say, "No, don't talk about my mom." Well, you talked about my brother. So that is the thing with Jen and Marge. They are two sides of the they're the different sides of a coin. So I believe that um, Marge Marge thinks she puts herself on a pedestal. She thinks she's above Jen, and that's why they don't get along.
Yeah, but didn't he say what Mars said was like a mail order bride, and technically that's what it was.
But that's not what it was. She did say that, and that's disrespectful. She didn't. She did say that, and she said it behind her back as well. So I think that if she would have asked questions and understood, not that I would do that, but I'm just saying, she did not. She did the same thing that Jen did to her friend in Oklahoma. She spoke on things she really didn't know about. She made comments about living in Oklahoma and all that stuff, and she judged them. And Marge judged Jen's heritage.
But I think she apologized for that comment too.
She
So
did
it
not
should.
apologize.
Yes, she did.
She didn't apologize right away like Jen
Well,
did.
right
It
away,
took her a
She
regardless,
while,
apologized,
and she still apologized.
but it
but
took her
she
a while.
apologized. If you don't feel it, don't say it till you feel it.
And that could be true. However, they always like to say Jen never owns up to her stuff, and she owns up every single time. Marge held on to that. And also, Marge didn't apologize for saying that she did not work. All she was a stay at home mom.
No,
She
that's
never apologized.
That's
She
what
said,
she is.
but my point is, she works. That's a job. Marge looked down on that, and she said that I, I, I think stay-at-home moms work hard, but she excluded Jen. She said, but not Jen. So she didn't apologize. She made up she made up an excuse to defend her point, and she had no point. So Marge does not own up to what she says only when she feels like it for certain people.
I know she apologized. Rather, she apologized then when she apologized. So
Mm-hmm.
if we're gonna accept one apology by some people, you'd
You
accept
got to
all the
accept it.
apologies by all the people. So okay,
Okay.
well, we'll
Jennifer
be
will
here
do
again
anything
next
Teresa
year this
wants her to
time.
do. All
I'm
right.
sorry. What'd you say? Oh.
All right. No, y'all are fine. I'm getting ready
See
to
Oh.
you for the review of
get
the
out of here.
binge.
All right. Thank you. That's all I wanted to
Huh?
say. I said thanks for letting me in.
No problem. Thank y'all for coming up.
Okay.
I appreciate
Bye.
everybody's point of view. I'm gonna just have to go back and watch it, and then I can have an opinion because y'all talking about stuff I don't know nothing about. But I'm gonna go back and watch it, and that way I can have an opinion about these things.
Yeah.
Okay.
What you should watch
Um,
when this cast started, when Jackie and Jen came. You could kind of, if you don't want to
she
go
should
too
watch
far
from the
back.
beginning
True, but if you want
if
to,
she want to know more about
it's a lot.
I
Teresa
need to watch.
and
Oh
the
yeah.
background.
Okay, yeah, that's true.
I'm gonna have to go
And
back to
really
it. I'm gonna
be
have
Because
to go back
when
to
you're
the
Teresa
when you're
always
original
watching it,
place. I'm gonna have to
just
start from the
remember
beginning.
what you saw with the Bravo docket, that you never knew what was going on, and they had been investigated from 2005. The show didn't start until 2009, so they knew they had some problems before they even got on TV. So
I'm gonna drop off.
but you know
I'm
what?
doing my daughter's
I've
hair.
said a long time ago, instead of saying the real housewives, They need to say the real criminals of each one of these cities, because look like each one got
Yeah, each one
one.
got one. That's for sure. That's for sure. So
Atlanta is the only one, because what Margot did years ago, she was on a fight. But each city except for Potomac and Atlanta got some real life criminals in it. And do you realize they all clear people?
yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm. Because you know what happens to us.
And on that note, I'm going to bed. I love y'all.
Good night,
Good
y'all.
night, y'all.
I love y'all. I'm going to sleep.
All right.
Love you, really, be.
Good night.
Thank y'all for being here. And thank y'all in the chat. And I'm
Thanks
going to
for
see y'all
having me.
later. I'll talk to y'all later. Thanks for coming up. I appreciate y'all. Y'all give me a lot of insight that I didn't have. And I am out.